and welcome back to my KX Corner. My name is Dina, aka the Dirty Quilter. Today we're going to talk about backing, batting, and basting. This is video 5 in my Dirty Quilting series. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you'll know when I post another video for this series. If you've got your quilt top done, then you're ready to move on to the next step. If not, go ahead and watch through this video just so that you've got some things to be thinking about while you're finishing up the quilt top, okay? So backing, batting, and basting is what we're talking about today. So starting with backing, you have lots of different options for backing. They do make wide backing, so 108 inch, I've even seen 118 inch backing. This quilt, if you follow it along, you end up with finished 5.5 inch blocks. And so with the 9 across, you're looking at roughly 60 inches across. You could use the wide backing. 108 inch wide backing would give you a lot of excess, but you might have it for another project. You could use it for binding. You could also use old sheets. So I have purchased sheets from a thrift store. I have come across, as we were cleaning out my parents' house, some old sheets there that I've used for backing. So you can really use just about anything. I know some people even use minky for their backing. That to me sounds like a headache and not something I really want to tackle at this point, but it's an option. So you do have different options there. Then if you are using the 44 inch or a standard 40 to 44 inch fabric for your backing, then you will need to kind of cut and splice. And so that's what I'm doing. I just found some fabric at Hobby Lobby. Of course, it was on sale this week, 30% off. I bought way more than I needed because I was kind of in a rush and I was not in the mood to math at the time. So I ended up getting, I think I got 4 yards, but I don't necessarily need 4 yards for this project. So to do this for the backing, I'll kind of draw you a little picture here and hopefully this will make sense. So we've got a 60 inch quilt and our backing is 44 inches wide. So obviously it's not wide enough for my 60 inch quilt. So so on here, if I say this is my backing, like this, okay, so we've got 4 yards of backing. And then if my quilt is more like this, so you see how the blue is my quilt, how it sticks off the side because the backing's only 44 inches, right? So what I'm going to do is actually cut my backing. So we want to leave a couple inches overhang all the way around just in case we've got some whoops, right? But I'm going to cut my backing so that I have just enough, so that pink line will be my cut line. And then I'm going to take it, this whole rest of this, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to stitch it right to this other backing here. Okay, so then my backing will be wider. Now you're going to have a seam in the back of your quilt. That's okay. It's the back of your quilt. If you really want to get picky about it, after you splice those two pieces together, you can center your quilt so that the seam is down the center of your quilt. If that really bothers you, go for it. I'm frugal, so if I can avoid making lots of small pieces left over of my backing, I will. So I will actually keep my quilt up in that corner as far as I can so that I have all this extra down here that I can save for another project. I haven't decided yet what I'm using for my binding. I don't think I'm going to use this for my binding, but I might use it for my binding, so that would give me extra for that. Okay, so that's the backing. So that'll be our next step, is actually cutting this down and then splicing it together. But before we do that, let's talk about batting. And so you do have lots of different options for batting. If you've done other quilt projects and you've got maybe 30 inches, by 60 that you don't have anything to do with, to do with it, splice it with another piece. No one's going to see that on the inside, right? So just put it all together and make one big piece of batting. The other thing, again, you can go to the thrift store and you can get sheets. So I have used like a flannel sheet from the thrift store. It worked perfectly. It was nice and thin. It was for a summer quilt that I made, so I didn't want it really heavy and warm. Just wanted it kind of light and airy, and so I just used a sheet in the center for batting. You could omit the batting altogether if you wanted it super thin. But there's nobody's, there's, besides the quilt police, no one's going to be looking at the inside of your quilt. Okay. You can even use this is just a blanket that I found at the thrift store. You can use this for your batting. This is another blanket that I found that I've got in my stash to use for batting. So there's no reason why you can't, repurpose some things for your batting. So use what you've got. Don't feel, like I said before, don't feel like you have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to make a quilt, right? Okay. And then the other thing that we will talk about is our basting. So I glue baste. So I will be using Elmer's glue to baste the quilt. And so I will baste the batting and the backing together first, and then I will baste the quilt top to the batting, and we'll walk through that in a bit. So let's get started with the backing. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll meet you back here at my cutting mat, and then we'll head over to my machine. So we'll get this backing cut down so that it's the right size, and then we will splice it together on my machine. Then I'll iron that seam flat. I iron open. That's just what I do. And then we will get to the basting part. So let's get started. Done with the basting. So we used the Elmer's glue, and I did forget to mention earlier, I ended up just buying batting. I know we talked about all the different kinds of options for batting. I didn't really have anything that I wanted to cut up to make this small in my stash, and so I just went ahead and bought batting since it was on sale at Hobby Lobby. If you buy it on the roll, they have their 30% off every other week, and so I was able to get it 30% off, so it ends up being like, it's 90 inches wide, and then it's $10.50 a yard. So that's what I ended up using for my batting. So we've got the front basted, glue basted, and we've got the back glue basted. So it doesn't take long to dry, half hour or so maybe, and then we are ready to start quilting. This is where I'm going to end this video for now so that you can get a chance to get caught up if you're not already. Be thinking of how you want to quilt this. That's our next step, okay? So I am going to show you how to just do a simple quilt that you don't have to have a machine that will let you do free motion. We're just going to do some straight line quilting. and then I will probably go back and do a little bit of design through those lines that we make if you want to do that as well. It's a good beginner free motion design because there's not a lot of movement in it. It's a very simple, just a wave, and so I'll show you how to do that when we get to that point. But if you just want to do some straight line stitching, I'm dirty quilting. I'm not even going to mark this. I'm not going to measure it. We have squares. This entire quilt is made up of squares, and so I'm just going to go diagonal lines all the way through the quilt, through these squares, and so it's just going to be really easy to do. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to get notified when I release the next video. But until then, have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.